Welcome to This Week in Baseball History, the bonus show just for subscribers to Rounders, a history of baseball in America. We're about to take a journey through some of the most memorable, controversial, and legendary moments that took place between July 14th and July 20th. Let's get started. We begin on July 21st. On July 21st, 1973, Atlanta Braves slugger Hank Aaron joined the most exclusive club in baseball. Facing Philadelphia Phillies pitcher Ken Brett, Aaron launched a solo home run. This wasn't just any home run. It was the 700th of his illustrious career. With that swing, he became only the second player in Major League history, after Babe Ruth, to reach the hallowed milestone. The achievement was a monumental step in Aaron's historic pursuit of Ruth's all-time record of 714 home runs. Next up, July 22nd. On July 22, 1923, Walter Johnson, the stoic and dominant pitcher for the Washington Senators, achieved a feat no one in baseball had ever done before. In a game against the Cleveland Indians, the man they called the Big Train struck out Stan Kovleski to record the 3,000th strikeout of his career. He was the founding member of what remains one of baseball's most elite pitching fraternities. To put the achievement in perspective, at the time, only one other pitcher, Cy Young, had even surpassed 2,500 strikeouts. On to July 23rd. Making your Major League debut is a nerve-wracking experience, but for Bert "Campy" Campaneris, it was electric. On July 23, 1964, the 22-year-old shortstop for the Kansas City Athletics stepped to the plate for the first time. On the very first pitch he saw, Campaneris launched a home run, instantly writing his name into the history books. As if that wasn't enough, he wasn't done. Later in the same game, he hit another home run, becoming only the second player in MLB history to hit 2 homers in his debut game. On July 24, 1983, one of the most bizarre and explosive moments in baseball history unfolded at Yankee Stadium. In the top of the 9th inning, George Brett of the Kansas City Royals hit a go-ahead 2-run home run. But as Brett returned to the dugout, Yankees manager Billy Martin pointed out that the pine tar on Brett's bat extended beyond the 18 inches allowed by the rules. After a conference, the umpires nullified the home run and called Brett out, ending the game. An incandescent Brett erupted from the dugout, charging the umpires in a rage that became an iconic image of the sport. The story didn't end there. The Royals protested, the ruling was overturned, and the game was famously resumed 25 days later with the Royals officially winning. On July 26, 1928, Bob Musial, the powerful outfielder for the legendary Murderers Row New York Yankees, accomplished a feat of hitting versatility that no one had ever achieved before. In a game against the Detroit Tigers, Musial hit for the cycle, collecting a single, double, triple, and home run in the same game for the 3rd time in his career. To do it 3 times was unprecedented. While often overshadowed by his more famous teammates Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, this record cemented Musial's legacy as one of the most complete hitters of his era. The record of 3 cycles has since been tied, but nearly a century later, it has never been broken. On July 25, 1966, during his induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame, Ted Williams gave a speech that was more impactful than any home run he ever hit. At the end of his remarks, the splendid Splinter went off script and made a powerful public plea for the inclusion of players from the Negro Leagues. Williams said, "I hope that someday the names of Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson in some way can be added as a symbol of the great Negro players who are not here only because they were not given a chance." This impassioned call to action from one of the game's most revered superstars is credited as a major catalyst that pushed the Hall of Fame to finally establish a committee to honor Negro Leagues players. 5 years later, in 1971, Satchel Paige became the first player inducted under this new process. And finally, July 27th, Pete Rose built his entire career on relentless hustle and incredible durability, and on July 27, 1984, he reached the pinnacle of his longevity. Playing for the Montreal Expos at the time, Rose took the field for his 3,309th Major League game, officially becoming the all-time leader in games played. It was a record that perfectly encapsulated the player known as Charlie Hustle. He would go on to play in 3,562 games before retiring, a mark considered one of the most unbreakable records in modern sports. And that's all for this edition of This Week in Baseball History. Join us next time as we uncover more classic stories from the diamond. For more details on the events you heard about today, check out the show notes on our website. Thanks for listening.